This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.
The Chicago Bears have built a juggernaut of a staff this offseason so far, starting with new head coach Ben Johnson coming over from the Detroit Lions, who have won back-to-back NFC North title games. Ben Johnson has been cooking with Ryan Poles as well, bringing in top coordinators such as Dennis Allen to take over the defense and a young offensive mind that's only 28 years old to take over the offense as coordinator. And then some top assistants have been a part of the Chicago Bears now, including Antoine Randall L. and Al Harris, both respected and former players. And then the Bears retained one top coach as their special teams coordinator. I'm here to break it all down for you guys, but hello, everyone. My name is Nick Rohde, breaking down the Bears for you guys today. Let's jump into it. And before we get into today's show, I'm giving away a Jevin Hester jersey to celebrate 23,000 subscribers to one of you guys. All you got to do is like this video, comment bear down in the comment section below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And please like this video if you like this coaching staff so far, but let's jump into it. So Ben Johnson, obviously the biggest hiring of them all. The Bears' new head coach comes over from the Detroit Lions after two great seasons leading a top 3 offense in the NFL by Jared Goff and various targets. He has been a huge reason why that Detroit offense has developed, not only because of the last 2 seasons, but he's been a part of the staff for quite some time, and he was able to work in different positions, get to know the guys, and help build this team from the ground up. Ben Johnson is arguably one of the best offensive minds in football and could be the next great head coach like a Sean McVay. Still under 40 years old at the moment, he is leading a Chicago Bears team that had high expectations in 2024 and is looking to reach those expectations in 2025, especially for quarterback Caleb Williams. Let's go through Ben Johnson's journey so far. In 2018, he was the wide receiver coach for the Miami Dolphins, where he worked with Dan Campbell. And then he came over to the Detroit Lions and became their offensive quality control coach in 2019, quickly being upgraded to their tight ends coach from 2020 to 2021, along with getting promoted in the middle of the season to pass game coordinator in 2021. And because of the success that he had at both of that, Dan Campbell, Lions head coach, gave Ben Johnson the offensive coordinator job for the last 3 seasons, where the Lions finished with more than 9 wins, a top 10 offense, and the top 3 offense over the last 2 seasons. And now he is the Chicago Bears head coach. Bears will be paying Ben Johnson $13 million over the next per season for the next 4 years. And on top of it, too, Ben Johnson had full control in hiring his staff and is going to be collaborating a ton with GM Ryan Poles and Kevin Warren about how to build this team with the $69 million in cap they have this year, along with a various different amount of draft picks, including 4 in the top 100. But Ben Johnson's the real deal and brings what Chicago has been looking for a very long time. But Ben Johnson is not only bringing his skills to Chicago, he's bringing a top defensive coordinator to this team, as the Bears signed Dennis Allen Sunday night, January 26th, to become the team's next defensive coordinator. This news broke actually right when Johnson signed with the Chicago Bears, that Dennis Allen was a top candidate, but they had to interview a couple other people, ended up being the right candidate, and Ben Johnson signed him Sunday night to a contract, which the Bears now have the head coach of the defense. And what I mean by that is that Dennis Allen has had 2 separate head coaching gigs, a total of 6 seasons, both of which didn't work out. But when this guy's a defensive coordinator, he creates a top 5 defense in the league. And with a young Bears defensive side of the ball with Jalen Johnson, Tremaine Edmonds, Javon Dexter, Montez Sweat, Kyler Gordon, Jaquan Brisker, TJ Edwards, the list goes on and on. Dennis Allen is walking into a fantastic defensive roster for himself, and Ben Johnson's going to go, that's all you, pal. You know, head coaching experience, you know what to do. But not only that, Ben Johnson is a first-time head coach himself in the NFL, and he's going to need a little hand-holding at some points, and Dennis Allen is going to be able to do that. So quickly going through Dennis Allen's history, he was a secondary coach with the Saints for 3 seasons in the late 2000s, and then he became the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos in 2011, which he had so much success during that 4-year span, is that the then Oakland Raiders ended up hiring him as their head coach for 3 seasons. Didn't work out very well, was brought back to Sean Payton's staff as a defensive assistant in 2015, quickly getting upgraded in the middle of the season, defensive coordinator, which he was for 6 seasons. And then after Sean Payton was traded to the Denver Broncos, he became the New Orleans Saints head coach for the last few years. Didn't work out very well for him. Again, he had some solid defenses and almost made the playoffs in 23, which if you look at his 23 stats, he was a solid defensive coordinator and head coach. 327.2 yards per game, which was 13th in the league, only allowing 34 touchdowns, which was 6th. 10th in passing yards allowed, 5th in interceptions, 4th in third down conversion allowed, and 11th in penalties. So a lot of experience and a lot of positives that he brings to the table for the Chicago Bears team. And that's something that fans should be excited about, especially having that head coach experience to help Ben Johnson and lead this defense for a long time, because I don't see another team picking him up anytime soon. But then here's the interesting one, is that the Bears bring in Declan Doyle from the Denver Broncos as their next offensive coordinator. The 28-year-old tight end coach has been hired by the Bears, which he has a really solid resume for only being 28 years old. Keenan Allen is older than this guy if they end up bringing him back. He's almost the same age as DJ Moore, and him and Cole Kmet are almost the same age as well. So he's going to have that very close personality with his players, which is obviously a big deal. But Ben Johnson sees something in this guy that obviously is a big deal. And also Sean Payton has as well, because he's been on both of his staffs. Let's go through a little bit about Doyle and what he brings. He was an offensive assistant from 2016 to 2018 at Iowa, which he was a student at the time. And then he was hired by Sean Payton and became an offensive assistant for 3 seasons with the team. And during that time, after Sean Payton was traded to the Denver Broncos, he ended up picking up Doyle and bringing him over to Denver. So clearly Sean Payton, one of the best offensive minds as a head coach in the last couple of years, bringing over a young 28-year-old candidate made Ben Johnson's ears perk up. And in 2023, his first year as a tight end coach, all tight ends finished with career highs. So this is big for Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett, if Gerald Everett's still on the team. And like I said, hired by 2 different Sean Payton staffs. And also the Saints finished top 5 in tight end rankings in 2019 when he first came onto the staff. So young personality, I like it. I think that it's different. I think that it's an opportunity. But we also have to consider that Ben Johnson is the one calling the plays. Ben Johnson is not giving this guy play calling duties. He's the one leading this team. This kid is going to be more of a, leading practice, obviously having a big impact on the team, but not as much as you think as other offensive coordinators would, like a David Shaw if he would have came in. So excited to see what he does. He's an offensive coordinator, one of the youngest ever. So we'll see what his offense brings to the table, and it's exciting.
Let's talk about some sports betting. My go-to for that is BetUS. Once you're in, you'll easily find all the pregame markets, parlays, and prop bets that you need. You'll even get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. So let's win some money. If I want to bet on the Super Bowl winner, I just click on the football tab, scroll down to find the NFL Super Bowl tab, then find the bet I like. I'm going to go for the Kansas City Chiefs to win it all. So click on the number and specify your wager. $50 sounds good. Then click place my bets, click confirm, and there you go. Pretty easy, right? Enjoy a limited time offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on the next 2. This is up to $2,000 and can be accessed with the code YouTube150.
But something else that is exciting for the Bears is that a Chicagoland native and also Big Ten MVP in 2001 and Antoine Randall L. comes to the Chicago Bears from the Detroit Lions as well, joining Ben Johnson as their wide receiver and assistant head coach. Antoine from Riverdale, Illinois, is one of the most famous football players to come out of the Chicagoland area, winning a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers back in 2005, and again, being one of the best quarterbacks in college football back in the early 2000s and late 90s. He was a second-round pick in 2001 after converting to wide receiver, and this guy is pretty darn special, and he brings intensity, he brings culture, relationship to players, and I love that this wave of player coaches is coming to the Chicago Bears. His coaching history, or his NFL journey, though, he was a wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 2002 to 2005, and then 2010 to end his career, which then he went to the then Washington Redskins from 2006 to 2009. He was hired as an offensive assistant coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2019 to 2020, which then he got recognized for his time there, went to Detroit from 2021 to 2024 under Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell, which also absolutely earned the right to become an assistant head coach. This guy is well respected in the locker room, but a Super Bowl champion in 2005 with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Big Ten MVP in 2001 during his time with Indiana. Let's go through the next coach that we brought in that's also a former player, former Green Bay Packer, Eagle, Ram, and Buccaneer. Al Harris joins the Chicago Bears coming from the Dallas Cowboys staff, which Matt Eberflus is now on, if you didn't know that already. But the Bears hire a former Pro Bowler and All-Pro as their pass game coordinator on the defensive side of the ball. And I love this move considering Al Harris was one of the best defensive backs in football in the mid-2000s. Again, why he was a two-time Pro Bowler and one-time All-Pro. Also, he's in the Packers Hall of Fame ring, but don't look at it too much, guys. I think that this guy is not going to be part of the Packers curse when we bring in former coaches from the Packers, not players. Let's go through his NFL journey. He was a player for 14 seasons from 97 to 2011, which he immediately became a coaching intern for the Miami Dolphins after being on their practice squad in 2011. He was the Kansas City Chiefs secondary and defensive back coach from 2013 to 2018, defensive assistant at Florida Atlantic University, which then he was hired by the Dallas Cowboys under Mike McCarthy, his former head coach while he was with the Green Bay Packers, as their defensive backs coach. And then in 2024, he became the assistant head coach. So he comes over to the Chicago Bears, gets a little bit of an upgrade, not that assistant head coach title, but he was working under Dennis Allen, which is obviously very, very big. Good relationship. They played against each other, but also coached against each other as well. Now they bring both of their talents to the Chicago Bears. Let's go through the last last two coaches I want to go through today. Is that the Bears bring in a new quarterback coach, former Ohio State quarterback J.T. Barrett as the new quarterback coach, also comes over for the Detroit Lions. So the Chicago Lions, as a lot of people are trolling online right now, but a solid coach. And he had an incredible NCAA career. He was the Ohio State quarterback in the the mid 2010s from 2014 to 2018, which then he became an NFL quarterback from 2018 to 2019. He was an offensive assistant for the Lions in 2022. Then he became the assistant quarterback coach from 23 to 24. And then the Bears obviously upgraded to full-time quarterback coach in 2024 for them. But he's a college football national champion with Ohio State in 2014. He also won the MVP of the Big Ten in 2016. So the Bears have two Big Ten MVPs on their coaching staff and three-time Big Ten quarterback of the year in 2014, 2016, and 2017. So this staff still isn't done, as they retained one of their favorite coaches from last year, keeping Richard Hightower as their special teams head coach. I think this is a very smart move. Richard Hightower, very level-headed guy, helped lead that locker room, built a good culture, and is someone that a lot of people can get behind. Helped Cairo Santos get his career back on track. Obviously, that trick play against Green Bay was a big one too. But the Bears have always seemed to have a solid special teams unit, and it's hard to come by, especially from a special teams coordinator. Richard Hightower brings that to the Chicago Bears, and the Bears ended up retaining him, one of the only coaches left on the staff from last year. So at the end of the day, guys, Ben Johnson has a staff of coaches and former players, which I think is fantastic. And I talked about that earlier, but also both bring energy from a player's and coach's perspective that this team needs. A little bit harder, but a little bit more relatable, and also just overall solid coaching news. But guys, excited for this one. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. Again, to help welcome these guys into Chicago, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please comment in the comment section below. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rody, and as always, Bears.
This video is powered by BetUS. Use promo code YouTube150 to get your 150% sign-up bonus. Start playing today with an exclusive offer. Shout out to BetUS for being the proud sponsor of Roundtable Sports.